It's no secret that the red pill, as an analogy that is being used these days more and more frequently outside of, but usually it started within the manosphere itself. A lot of people are asking just what this red pill thing is. Just what does it mean? Now, it's common parlance. Everybody seems to know in the manosphere themselves, but a lot of people outside of it don't seem to know exactly where it came from. So I'll go and explain for them as well as for everybody else. The movie The Matrix had a scene in it which Neo, I'm just trying to remember these characters now. Anyway, the Lawrence Fishburne character offers the terrible actor, Keanu Reeves' character, a choice between taking either a red pill or a blue pill. And in the movie he states that the red pill, you understand how deep the rabbit hole goes. The blue pill, you go back to sleep. Now, in about 2009, about middle 2009, I think, or May, I want to say, May 2009, a guy by the name of Keone Galt, or the Hawaiian Libertarian, wrote an article called Game is the Red Pill. Now, in that article, what he posited is that the understanding of female sexuality, the understanding of female psychology, sort of bursts the bubble. Okay, it sort of gets rid of a lot of the lies that you've been told your whole life, and it frees you to react in a manner that is more sympathetic with what you want out of life rather than what other people want out of you. Now, a lot of people don't understand, but the analogy from The Matrix still holds true today. This article called Game is the Red Pill probably would have been a better title for it, would have been Game is a Red Pill. Because in the movie The Matrix, it's very, very clear what the symbolism is. You've got the inconvenient truth, and that's the red pill. That's the truth that just kind of niggles away at the back of your head, and you just can't deny it, right? It doesn't mesh with any of the things that you believe. In fact, usually it's diametrically opposed to what you believe. But you can't ignore that truth. That's the inconvenient truth. The blue pill represents a soothing lie. So basically the inconvenient truth that you're being faced with, the soothing lie basically makes up a rationalization for why it either isn't happening the way it appears, or it doesn't matter. That's basically the heart of the red pill, blue pill dichotomy, and that was right from the movie. Okay, so it actually had very little to do with the manosphere itself. That same dynamic carries through into the manosphere. And the funny thing is that a lot of the people that are in the manosphere fail to apply red pill thinking outside of a very narrow scope of interest. So for example, you have the guys that are in the PUA movement, you have guys that are PUAs. Essentially what they're doing is they have a problem in their lives. That problem is they're not getting attraction from either enough or the right kind of women. Now, it's pretty obvious to anybody that would be watching this. Men have sort of the impetus is placed on men to do the pursuing. So if you don't pursue effectively, you're not going to get good results. It is basically the same thing as trying to learn how to play baseball, trying to learn how to drive a car, or learning how to use Microsoft Office. Okay, these are all skills that you have to learn. Now, I understand, yes, that pisses off a lot of women because they want all these things to be natural and they just come naturally. But the thing is even the naturals didn't get there naturally. They just had life lessons at a different time that they took a different lesson away from it. For example, a lot of people that are naturals tend to come from very poor, broken homes, etc. Ghettos, the poorer neighborhoods, there tend to be thug life guys, they tend to be, that kind of shit. Well, the reason why is because they've seen over and over again examples of women not acting like he's been told everywhere else that they act. And rather than taking the blue pill and saying, the people in my life are an anomaly, everybody else is pretty good, they've taken the red pill and they've said, these people that are acting like this in my life are an incontrovertible fact. The narrative that I'm being sold is invisible everywhere but in the sales materials. So, is a natural unnatural? Absolutely not. They've learned a different way. Everybody is inclined to believe that everybody else is a basically decent, good human being. It takes a lot to turn that opinion around for an awful lot of people. It takes some pretty nasty things to be done before they're willing to admit, yeah, this person is a really nasty person and I shouldn't have anything to do with them. Which is why the blue pill is the stronger of the two poles. Okay, so for example, you'll have somebody who's, well, we keep using PUAs. You'll have a PUA who is fully into game, understands the sociosexual dynamics, understands the proper responses for certain situations. In fact, already has several canned responses, which, by the way, are normal in any sales environment. Canned responses are part of any sales guy's repertoire. There's nothing nefarious about it. There's nothing underhanded about it. It's just simply a way to be quick, just like that, okay? Just to keep the pace going. And all it is just a technique. It's a tool. But you get these guys that are very, very well versed in the pickup game, for example, and then you start talking to them about things like their value in society, or their legal rights, or representation in a legal and in a political sense. Is there anybody out there that's actually representing your views? Is there, and more to the point, is there anybody out there that isn't openly attacking you and your demographic as the problem? Because there's a lot of guys out there that can even be said about. Well, a lot of these guys, they say, well, they just don't care. It's not part of what they want to know. Or weirder yet, they'll say, you're a pussy for even caring, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's just projection of another inconvenient truth, okay? So what happened there was that they took one inconvenient truth and they went, okay, this inconvenient truth is related to a problem that I really, really care about. So I'm going to explore this and see where it goes. They go through all the psychological and emotional pain of understanding they've been lied to and that they actually don't have the value in life that they thought they did and all the rest of that. But as soon as they bump up against something that they don't particularly care about as much, for example, why would they care about divorce law? They're not even married. Why would they care about paternity law when they got, for example, a vasectomy, or they always use a condom, right? Like, then keep in mind, rationalization comes in, of course, in the blue pill. So what happened there is you've got a guy who says they're red pill, but when they bump into an inconvenient truth that either rubs up against something that they actually really truly care about rather than something they really truly don't want to continue. So for example, a sacred belief or a sacred cherished belief they might have of, for example, the sanctity of the Republican Party, or the infallibility of the American civilization, or whatever. I mean, any of these things, any of these ideological blocks that could pop up. So, for example, you have guys in the MRM that basically say game is a load of shit. Well, that's not true. It isn't a load of shit. In fact, game is more provable than a lot of MRA facts. So, it's not a strictly logical refutation. In a lot of cases, it's a refutation from reputation. So basically they say, I heard all about you guys are these ways, so I'm not even going to look into what you're saying. Now, that goes all sorts of different directions. It's not just MRAs saying game sucks or is stupid or whatever. It's not just MGTOW saying game sucks or is stupid. It's not MGTOWs will say, for example, that MRAs are stupid for thinking that the politicians in the world will do a damn thing. I'm of that camp myself, but I'm also a believer in the fact that you can actually do things in the political process that go against the grain of what the ruling elite want. And that's essentially what the MRM is doing right now. I guess the point that this whole long rambling sort of thing is that if you understand the red pill as an inconvenient truth and the blue pill as a soothing lie, then you can start to look at everything in life, not just the socio-sexual dynamic between men and women, through a red pill lens. And when you do that, you start to see there are a lot of areas in which we have been lied to. Not straight up men versus women either. A lot of the times it's poor versus rich. It's connected versus not connected. It's government versus civilian, they're saying these days. So there's a lot of these red pill sort of truths that are out there that you are either going to choose to look into or choose to not look into. You'll either take the red pill or the blue pill. It's an ongoing process. It doesn't happen just once. You don't wake up and all of a sudden everything is clear to you. What happens is that you go, that's a lie. What's the truth? And it's the act of looking for the truth that is the important thing. When you sit back and you demand other people educate you, what you're doing is you're saying, I don't believe this ideology anymore, so fill me with your own. It is no better. It is just as lazy. It doesn't improve the person that's taking on that information one iota. All it does is change what they believe. They don't know anymore. They just think something different now. So the act of pursuing the truth is taking the red pill. You don't receive the red pill, you take it. You have to go out and find it and take it. And then look for more. Blue pills are easy. They're all over the place. They're everywhere. And that's why you'll find, even within the manosphere, groups of people that refuse to even consider a different reality than the one they have chosen. And it isn't always necessarily going to be feminists that are making that decision. You may couch these things in logical, in logic, I guess. Logical rhetoric, I guess, is basically the same thing. But you can couch it in logic and say, well, for example, as a MGTOW, why would I want to know anything about seduction? Well, do you interact with women ever in your life? Unless you're working in an all-male environment, or, for example, you work from home and never leave your house, you're probably going to come in contact with women. But the other side to it is that the things that work in game also work well in sales. In fact, they're almost exactly the same techniques. Why would you need to know sales? For example, I'm a software engineer. Well, I'll tell you why you want to know sales. Because if you know sales, then your inter-office relations with the people around you will improve. Your career will improve. You'll make more money. You'll have a better day at work. You'll probably get promoted quicker. All because you understand the socio-sexual dynamic between men and women. Because with that understanding also comes an understanding of the male hierarchy, which is another thing that is something that MGTOW in particular really do seem to need to understand. That hierarchy does exist. Yes, it's because it's a pecking order to get women, but that same hierarchy will affect every other aspect of your life as well. So even if you are totally uninterested in getting women, and nobody else even knows that, so it doesn't even factor in, your desirability to women is going to affect other people's perception of you. So, question is why would you want to create a problem for yourself? Why would you deliberately refuse to learn something that would make your life either better, more balanced, or at least create a better understanding of the world around you? This can be said for every single group. MGTOW, PUA, MRA, doesn't matter. Traditionalists as well can take on that same advice. There was a guy a while back who asked me why, when I did the magazines that I did, why did I mix together all these different groups? That's the reason why. The red pill is not limited to one single area. The manosphere is a group of blind men feeling an elephant. MRA, that's one guy. MGTOW, that's another guy. PUA, that's another guy. Traditionalist, that's another guy. Neo-reactionary, that's another guy. Everybody's describing their own area of expertise, and it is only when you import a bunch of stuff from each one of them into your own understanding of the world that you can say that you have some balance. And that, to me, is the red pill. Taking truth wherever you find it. Accept the truth wherever you find it. And then act on the truth wherever you find it.